coming. You can look in my palm and see the storm coming. Read the book of my life and see I've overcome it. Just because the length of your hair ain't long, and they often criticize you for your skin tone. Wanna hold your head high, cause you a pretty woman. Get your runway stride home and keep it going. Girl, live your life.
Oh, it's so good to be back in Detroit. It is so good to be with you guys. I love Detroit. I love Detroit. Governor, thank you for everything you do every day for the state of Michigan. You and I have spent time, many visits here in Detroit together over the period of the long time that we've been doing what we do. I want to thank you for your leadership and always rising, especially in these moments of crisis, to be a voice for the people. Senator Debbie Stabenow, you are my sister in the Senate. You are my friend. You are an incredible leader, not only in Michigan, but a national leader. And yes, we have to re-elect Gary Peters to the United States Senate. Gary is my seatmate in the Senate, I can tell you. He and I sit next to each other, so all those hearings that you've seen on TV and all of the interactions that happen on a daily basis in the United States Senate, and Gary always leans over to me talking about who's going to talk about working people, who's going to talk about the need to make sure that people are paid for the value of their work. He talks about the youth and the children and the need to make sure we have a vital public education system. He talks about the need to grow the economy. So please, Detroit and Michigan, send Gary Peters back to the United States Senate. Mayor Duggan, I want to thank you always for the warm welcome and for the work that you do every day. I appreciate you mentioning Back on Track, because I know you do the same kind of work here in Detroit, which is knowing the capacity and the potential of all people and treating them with the dignity, the respect, and the resources they need to reach that capacity. Thank you, Mayor, for the welcome always. And my dear, dear, dear sister friend, Brenda Lawrence, thank you always, always for the long-standing friendship, for the support, for the encouragement every day. I can't thank you enough. Can we hear it for Brenda Lawrence, please? And Arn and Nancy, tell them thank you for the warm welcome to be here in this incredible, incredible place. And I want to thank Ben Wallace for your leadership and just honoring us with your presence today. And of course, Tom Gores, for what you all do as an organization, but also in terms of the role modeling and the inspiration that you provide for so many. Thank you for that, and thank you for hosting us. The Detroit Youth Choir. Are you kidding me? You are phenomenal. And I'm so honored to see you in person. I watched you on TV. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you. And always, you have such beautiful voices, and know the strength of your voices always, whether or not you are singing. Your voices are so powerful, and yours are the voices of our country and our future, and always use them in a way that owns the power that you have. And thank you for gracing me this evening with your presence. The Detroit Youth Choir. All right, y'all, so I'm in Michigan again, because I love being in Michigan, and you know, Detroit, I mean, it reminds me of my hometown of Oakland, California. Just so much here, that so many who have come from Detroit, so many who have been part of the national character and the leadership of who we are. There's so much that is about Detroit as not only a measure of our country and its excellence, but also as a measure of the challenges that we face as a nation. And so Joe and I feel a particular sense of responsibility to be here and to be present. You know, Jill Biden was here last week. Joe was in Michigan the week before. We will keep coming back, because so goes Michigan, goes the rest of the country as far as we are concerned. And when I look at what's going on in Michigan, and I know that there have been 130 cases of COVID, when I know that we have mourned the loss of over 7,000 people who have died because of this virus. And I look at that and what this pandemic has done to change the lives of all Americans, what it has done to put us in a place where collectively we are mourning and grieving the loss of life, the loss of jobs, the loss of normalcy, the loss of consistency. And we have an election coming up in 42 days. And Michigan will be voting in 48 hours on an issue that will chart the course of the future of our country in a very direct and immediate way. And so I reference the pandemic as testament to that point. We have a choice on one hand of the current occupant of the White House, who, as we now know, not because somebody told us about a conversation they had with him, but because Bob Woodward actually recorded the conversation that he had with Donald Trump, when in early February, it became clear that Donald Trump had been briefed in January and talked in February about his knowledge that this virus could kill human beings and that it is airborne. He understood it so well, he went on to explain the difference between catching something in the air and catching something on the surface. Joe Biden was very funny when he was interviewed about it. He said, well, at least now we know the guy can read. Clearly, he got the briefing. But the President of the United States, having this knowledge, also possessing the title and the duty to be the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, and thereby having the responsibility to concern himself as a first priority with the safety and the well-being of the people of our country, with this knowledge, went on to call this virus a hoax, went on to suggest that we should dismiss what the public health professionals were telling us. To this day, where we are looking at now the marker, the sad, awful marker of 200,000 lives that have perished in just the last several months, almost 7 million people who have contracted the virus. And to this day, we have a Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America who is holding rallies with no mask because, you see, he has convinced everyone that you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask and you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. Making value judgments about people who are concerned with not dying. We're talking about the President of the United States. We deserve better. We deserve better. We deserve better. And here's the other thing. You couple that, which is enough, with the fact that right now Donald Trump and his boy, Bill Barr, are in the United States Supreme Court trying to get rid of one of the most significant public policy reforms in modern history, created by President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden, and it is called the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, what did it do? It brought health care and coverage to over 20 million people. It said, it's not right to prohibit people with a pre-existing condition like diabetes, like high blood pressure, from having coverage because they have a pre-existing condition. So the Affordable Care Act said you can no longer ban or prohibit someone with a pre-existing condition from having that kind of access. The Affordable Care Act, which recognized that so many of our young leaders might go into a job when they leave school that doesn't give them health care coverage even though they need it. So let's allow them to be on their parents' coverage until the age of 26. The Affordable Care Act did all of that. And yet, in the midst of a public health pandemic, the President of the United States is in court trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Check that out. In the midst of a moment that requires that people who are gravely sick have medical care and access to care without being burdened with worrying about whether they can afford it, he's in court trying to get rid of it. And the details on this matter, because not only is he trying to get rid of it, let's put it in the context of if he wins. If he wins the election and if he wins the case. If he wins the case, then we're looking at an America wherein, at least as of today, 7 million people now have, in addition to those from before, a pre-existing condition, and that's called they contracted the COVID virus, where physicians are telling us that there are things like lung scarring that may come from that, other unknown long-term health consequences. And we're now looking at a situation where if he wins this election and wins that case, in addition to our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, and the people we love who may have diabetes, who may have high blood pressure, the people we know who may have contracted the virus, and God, thank you, they've lived, may be denied coverage in the future. These are just some of the very specific things that are at play in this election. So I'm here in Detroit on behalf of Joe Biden and myself to honor the fact that the impact of these issues will have a grave consequence and impact to the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit. And as a messenger of these points, I wanted to be here to share with you what I believe is at stake in this election and the importance of your vote. Because I do believe that a path toward victory in this election runs straight through Michigan. And so I am here to speak with you because you possess an ability to make a decision in this election that could impact hundreds of millions of people in our country. I'm here to also remind us that there are going to be a lot of people, there have been a lot of people who have been trying to get in the way of our right to vote. You can look at history, we know that. We know why John Lewis shed his blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge to fight for the right for Black people in America to vote. We just celebrated weeks ago the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment because those suffragettes fought for the right for women to vote. Footnote, which is more than a footnote, Black women couldn't vote until 1965. We know that history. We know the history that in 2013, the United States Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act, wherein almost 24 states almost immediately put in place laws to try and suppress or prevent Black people from voting, students from voting, indigenous people from voting. The effort was so obvious that, as an example, in North Carolina, the Court of Appeal, when they reviewed what that state did, said that that state did it with, quote, surgical precision to prevent Black folks from voting. 2013, Shelby v. Holder, that case. 2016, I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Believe what you have been told. Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States with a misinformation campaign, with an intent to cause the American people to distrust one of the most important pillars of our democracy, which is our election system. And believe what you are being told, that they will do it again. So Detroit, I think all of this begs a question. Why are so many powerful people spending so much time to prevent us from voting? Why are they going through so much trouble to make it difficult or confusing for us to vote? And the answer is because they know when we vote, things change. They know when we vote, things change. So let us not let anyone take our power from us. Let us not let anyone take our power, that is the power of our voice through our vote, from us. We must vote, and we must vote early. In 48 hours, you can start voting here in Michigan. That means that if you vote early, you can remind folks also that they got 40 days to vote. We're asking folks to make a plan to vote, like pull out your calendar and make a plan to vote, that that's the day you're gonna vote. You can even have a ceremony about it, have a party about it if you want, but let's make a plan to vote, because this is probably the most important election of our lifetime on so many issues. And you have a clear, clear choice in this election to vote Joe Biden in as the next President of the United States, who will restore the dignity, the standing, and the soul of our nation. And my final point is this. This moment will pass, and years from now, our children, our grandchildren, and others, they will look at us, each one of us, they'll look in our eyes, and they will ask us, where were you at that moment? And what I know we are going to tell them is so much more than just how we felt. We will tell them what we did. We will tell them we were hanging out in the Pistons' backyard. We will tell them we were hanging out with the Detroit Youth Choir and the governor and the senator and the mayor. We will tell them that we were committed over those 42 days to doing everything we possibly can to making sure we vote and everyone we know votes, and in that way fights for this country we love. Thank you, Detroit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, don't you get that? Doesn't matter if you're going on with their plan. They'll never be happy because they're not happy with themselves. I'm talking about things that I know. It's okay, show yourself some love. Don't worry about who's saying what.
Hello, hello, nice to see you all. My name is Jasmine Webb. Most people call me Jazz, and I am the Deputy Field Director here in